Or as of November 2023, 76% of US adults who make less than $50,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, compared to 65.9% of those who are making between $50 and $100,000 a year. And 41%, 47% are actually making more than $100,000 per year and living paycheck to paycheck. And this is wild, guys. President Biden knows that the Social Security system's outdated and it needs a complete overhaul. And not just annual adjustments, it's actually becoming a broken promise to younger generations, Generation X, Z, the list goes on and on. And these generations, these younger generations, are doubting that they're ever even going to see a dime from the Social Security Administration, even though every single paycheck we're paying into the system. There's no one who has a legitimate job that is getting taxed, who is paying into the system. There's no one who's getting a paycheck from a legitimate job that's not getting Social Security taxes pulled out of their check. I mean, lower income, middle class, upper class, Social Security is pulling from everyone. And the fact of the matter is that high income earners can receive a monthly payout of $3,822, while some people struggle on the minimum benefits, which is highlighting the growing inequality which is perpetuated by the Social Security system. Now, Americans living paycheck to paycheck, they're walking out of retail stores like Walmart, like Target, and they're walking out of these stores with fewer and fewer items. And they're asking, what in the world is the Biden administration doing about this problem? I mean, the whole Social Security system is unfair, especially to the younger. Honestly, the younger the generation is, the more unfair it is. And these generations, including my own generation, who are forced to pay into a system that may very well be bankrupt by the time we retire, is just completely unfair. President Joe Biden, he campaigned on big increases to Social Security. That was the plan that he promised. Now, in this video, guys, I want to show you why I believe that, following states like Nebraska and Missouri's lead, more and more states will enact legislation to reduce or even eliminate state taxes on Social Security benefits, as the population increasingly views this as a double taxation. And, as the burden of funding Social Security continues to grow with increased caps and benefits, younger workers will become more vocal in their resentment and dissatisfaction. And they're going to be looking at this system as increasingly unstable and unfair. Now, just a heads up, guys, there's some big changes that are coming to Social Security this year. And, we're talking about updates that affect everything from the size of our checks, to how much some of us may be chipping in through payroll. By the way, if you guys appreciate the news and the updates, be sure to hit the like button for the video. Really appreciate that. And also subscribe to the channel. But it's really a big deal, especially since Social Security has been the financial bedrock, so to speak, for like over 80 years. And it lifted theoretically like almost 22 million people, including a whole bunch of seniors in the last 4 years, out of poverty. But unfortunately, a lot of these people actually slipping back into poverty. So, like, what's really interesting about Social Security, though, is that it doesn't just sit still. It changes every single year. And as we kick off this brand new year, 2024, I want to dive into some of the big changes that are happening right now. So first off, those Social Security checks, they're getting a little bit fatter. In fact, the biggest change that pretty much everybody's been waiting for is this 2024 cost of living adjustment, also known as COLA, right? So basically, the COLA is how Social Security keeps up with the inflation, the ever increasing cost of things like groceries and rent. And so when prices go up, so do the benefits, at least a little bit, kind of to help people out a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. Like this year, benefits are bumping up to 3.2%. So it's not as huge as the record 8.7% increase last year, but it's still a little bit better than the average over the last couple of decades, right? Now, for the average retired person, this means an extra like $59 a month in their pocket. So a lot of people aren't all that thrilled about it. People with disabilities, SSDI, SSI, and these people receiving survivor benefits, they're going to see a little bit less, but and it is what it is. And we can thank the Biden administration for the checks that are going out. But don't forget about the Medicare Part B premiums. Oh yeah, a lot of people have shared their perspectives on this. And they're the part of the Medicare that covers things like doctor's visits, and they're going to be going up by nearly 6% after going down for like the last year. So, for some people, this might actually eat into or even completely cancel that nice COLA increase that you just got. So keep an eye on those numbers, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and break down a couple of more changes that are actually coming to Social Security that might actually make a few wallets a little bit heavier, or maybe even a little bit lighter, depending upon where you stand. So for the people out there who are making the big bucks, right? Listen up, guys, because you might be looking at a bigger tax bill this year. So Social Security isn't just about those monthly checks that people get. It's funded by us, the people who are actually working still, right? It's funded by our taxes that the working class pays. Now, last year, if you earned anything up to $160,200, then you were taxed 12.4% on it in order to fund Social Security. Now, that's a big chunk of change, all right? That almost 12.5%, it's a big deal because this is where most of the Social Security funding comes from. But here's the news, guys. This year, they're actually bumping the cap on the taxable earnings up to $168,600. Now, I'm not a tax guy. This is not tax advice, but I'm just telling you, this is the information that's coming out. So what does all this mean, right? Well, for most of us, it's business as usual because most people aren't hitting that kind of income. Most people aren't making $168,600 a year. Most people make less than that. But for the top 6% of income earners, you're going to feel an increase. And it means an extra $8,400 of your income is going to be taxed. $8,400. So if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, this could mean over $1,000 more in taxes. Now, flipping to the other side of the coin here, right? There's always two sides of the coin. So for those who have been top earners throughout your careers, there's actually some good news, believe it or not, here. So basically, if you're hitting retirement at full swing, that's at your full retirement age when you get to 100% of your benefits, the maximum monthly payout is actually getting a nice bump. So last year, the most money that a retiree could actually get every single month was like $3,627. And that was if they waited until full retirement age to start collecting their Social Security checks. But hold on to your hats, folks, because this year that number is actually climbing up by $195 to $3,822 a month. Now, but hitting this jackpot isn't just about being lucky. It's also about playing the long game, right? You got to have worked at least like 35 years with pretty high income earnings, like hitting the maximum amount that's taxed for Social Security every one of those years. So basically, the Social Security Administration had to maximize how much they could screw you over the last 35 years in order to get the maximum payout. That's the way I see it. So for the big income earners, it's a mix of news, potentially more taxes, but also potentially a little bit more benefits down the road. So just kind of keep those changes in mind as you play out the year. One of the other changes that's coming down the pipeline, a little bit of good news on the state tax front, right? So let's talk about the state taxes. So not everybody knows this, but apart from the feds, the federal government, right? Some states like to take a slice out of your Social Security benefits as tax, right? But hey, things are looking up because you got two states that have decided to cut us some slack. Not a lot of slack, but they're cutting back a little bit, right? So starting out now, Nebraska and Missouri, they're backing off of their taxing of Social Security benefits. So this is kind of sweet news for some people who are living in those states. However, don't put your party hats on just yet, right? There's still 10 states that still have these tax benefits. So now they've got their own set of rules about when they actually start taking a cut. Now, usually it's based on how much money you're making, but this could change. And that's why I'm kind of like looking at this a little bit optimistically. But here's something that really hasn't budged in a long time. The federal rules on taxing Social Security, right? So these guys are kind of like the mafia. So these rules were set up way back in the 80s, back in the 90s, and they really haven't changed a whole heck of a lot since. Not even for inflation, which is, really not fair. Oh, Patty McNeil, happy New Year. And my bad, guys. Happy New Year. It is January 1st. My bad. Happy New Year. Appreciate you guys hanging out and on this live with me. Hope you guys enjoyed your New Year's celebration last night. Hopefully you're not hungover or anything like that. I'm not hungover. I'm straight. But anyway, glad you guys are here. Glad you guys are doing well. Yeah. So anyway, given the massive funding challenges that Social Security is facing, we're talking trillions of dollars in a shortfall, right? So don't hold your breath anytime soon for any kind of federal tax changes, right? But the rules for early retirees taking Social Security actually got a tweak again. All right. So if you retired early, like before hitting the usual retirement age, then you need to know about some changes that are taking place this year. Okay. So usually if you take Social Security early, your monthly checks, they're a little bit smaller. And, if you're still making some money on the side, like maybe a side hustle or something like that, the Social Security Administration, the SSA, they might hold back on some of your benefits depending upon how much you make. Now, for example, last year, if you hadn't hit full retirement age and you earned over like $21,000, things like $21,240, the SSA would reduce your benefits by $1 for every $2 over that amount, right? So basically, you'd be working for 50% off. This year, you could earn a little bit more, up to $22,320 before they actually start withholding benefits. So if you need to boost your income, at least you kind of understand how much more you can earn without getting screwed. And for those who are actually hitting full retirement age in 2024, the amount you can earn before they start trimming off your benefits, it has actually also gone up to $59,520. But once you hit full retirement age, the earnings test doesn't really apply anymore, and you start getting a little bit more in your monthly check. If they had withheld some of your benefits before, if that makes sense. So, so making money while on disability actually got a little bit easier. So, we're talking SSDI folks here. The amount of money that you can actually earn while receiving Social Security disability benefits changed for most years as well. So Social Security isn't just for retirement, but it also actually helps people who can't work for disability reasons. And this has been around since like the 1930s or something like that, right? And it's for retired people, and they added disability benefits about 20 years after that, so like 1950s, something like that. But basically, for like the last 60 something years, it's been a financial lifeline for a lot of people. So in 2023, if you were disabled, but you're not legally blind, then you can make up to $1,470 a month without affecting your disability benefits. So this year, you can earn up to $1,550 a month. And for those who are blind, the limit has increased from $2,460 to $2,590 a month. And so this means that you can keep a little bit more of that money. You can keep a little bit more of what you earn without actually losing your benefits. Now, earning Social Security benefits just got a little bit trickier. All right. So the last big change to Social Security this year is something that a lot of the future retirees should keep an eye on, right? I guess I might fall into this bucket too here. But just because you're a U.S. citizen doesn't mean you automatically get Social Security when you retire. Now, a lot of people are asking, will undocumented migrants receive Social Security? I actually did a video on that not too long ago. You guys can check that out if you want. If you want me to revisit that topic, definitely hit me up in the comment section down below. But most people have to work and earn their way into the system. You need 40 credits from working over your entire lifetime in order to qualify for retirement benefits, right? Now you can only earn up to 4 credits a year, but it's not too tough to hit that mark, believe it or not. So last year you needed to make like $1,640 to get 1 credit. So if you made at least $6,560 a year, then you're pretty much golden and, earned all 4 annual credits. But now that we're in 2024, you need to earn a little bit more in order to get each credit. You actually need to make $1,730 for one credit, meaning that you have to earn $6,920 over the whole year to max out your credits. So these are just some of the big changes that are actually coming to Social Security this year that I wanted to share with you for 2024. Drop me some comments, guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Is Social Security enough? Does Social Security need to be reformed? Is Social Security being fair when it comes to double taxing? Do you feel like the average American should have to repay these overpayments that Social Security is sending letters out to Americans regarding? Let me know what you guys are thinking about this on this one here. So I got Freedom in the comments. You're a good man, sir. I appreciate you. I got Nightbot here from Las Vegas. What's going on, Nightbot? Where'd you guys spend New Year's Eve this year? Were you at Times Square last night during all the performances and celebrations in New York, or did you spend it like somewhere else? Did you guys go to church? Were you at home? Let me know where you guys spent your New Year's Eve celebration. I spent it at my mom's house. We had friends and family over there. That was pretty cool. Might have been cool to spend it in New York, but if you look at the size of the crowd that was in New York, it's like, man, like some of those people who were celebrating there, they got there at like, I saw this one guy, he was saying how he got there at like 10:30 in the morning. Can you imagine this? Like, I looked at the weather yesterday and it was like 42 degrees in New York, which considering it was New Year's Eve was actually not as cold as it could have been. I mean, heck, you could be in New York and it'd be like 20 degrees, 10 degrees, right? Or freaking zero, But anyway, so at 42 degrees, I think that the crowds lucked out a lot. I mean, we were in New York 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was around. I had one day it was like 50 degrees, but most of the days it was between 30 and 40 degrees. So it was tolerable considering it's New York in December, right? But can you imagine, like, you wanted to celebrate in Times Square the ball drop for 2024, and you had to get there super duper early because they were like putting like blockades to control the crowd for safety reasons and whatnot. And this one guy, he was saying, yeah, we got here 10:30. I'm thinking to myself, man, how do you stand there in 42-degree weather if you got there at 10:30, that means you standing there for like 14 hours to celebrate this ball drop in the middle of Times Square in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a long time. Like, and where do you pee? Like, did you bring food? Like, how do you prepare for something like that? I mean, even if you had like some portable container, you can't just like relieve yourself in the middle of the crowd. So I don't know how that works. If you guys have any insight on that, let me know. I don't know. I would love to know how that works, because I'm pretty sure, once New York Police Department, the NYPD starts putting up those barricades, they're not going to be all right. They're not going to let people who are in there exit and then come back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a Raising Cane right on Broadway, and we went in there several times to eat. They had some pretty good chicken fingers and French fries. Personally, they're very similar to Zaxby's. I'm not sure which ones you guys like better, if you like Zaxby's or Raising Cane's more. But anyway, Raising Cane's on Broadway, they're monitoring who enters and exits the bathrooms there. So not any old body can just walk in there and use their bathrooms. If you've ever been to that Raising Cane's, you know what I mean. But anyway, the simple fact of the matter is, I don't know how they're managing themselves while they're trying to protect everyone who celebrated. But anyway, so Rubicon says somewhere diapers. Wow. I'm gonna be honest with you. Can you imagine you wear a diaper because you're planning on this event, right? And then you relieve yourself in this diaper, but it's still 42 degrees in there. So now you got like 42 degrees worth of liquid on your waist. That can't be comfortable. For how many hours are you gonna be wearing that thing? Ugh, I'm just saying. Anyway, guys, drop me some comments. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.